तो सफल करे बुक मैराथन। गिलहरी हो या हनुमान, सब करे अपना योगदान। गीता वितरण या गीता दान, सफल करे बुक मैराथन। आओ सफल करे बुक मैराथन। आओ सफल करे बुक मैराथन। बुक मैराथन, बुक मैराथन। ज़मीन बदल जाएगी, न आसमां बदल जाएगा, आपकी एक किताब से किसी का जहां बदल जाएगा। ज़मीन बदल जाएगी, न आसमां बदल जाएगा, आपकी एक किताब से किसी का जहां बदल जाएगा। आओ हम सब मिलजुल कर कुछ ऐसा कर दिखाए, प्रभुपाद संतुष्ट होकर हम पर मुस्कुराए। आओ हम सब मिलजुल कर कुछ ऐसा कर दिखाए, प्रभुपाद संतुष्ट होकर हम पर मुस्कुराए। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। आओ सफल करे बुक मैराथन। बुक मैराथन, बुक मैराथन।
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to Gita Jayanti. All of you have come here to celebrate together, and it's going to be really fun. Stay with me, pay attention. So, Gita Jayanti today is celebrated because today, 5,000 years ago, yes, that's right, 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna had started saying the Gita to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and it was to disillusion him, and it was not only meant for him, it was meant for all of mankind, as a guiding beacon of light for to live in this material world. So without further ado, let's go ahead. We have a very beautiful video which explains the whole history of this. So let's see about why the Gita Jayanti was celebrated, what is its historic significance, and what exactly today is.
Somebody mute me.
The Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is an episode in the epic Mahabharata written by sage Vyasa more than 5,000 years ago. It contains the teaching of Lord Krishna given to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In the Mahabharata, the Pandavas and the Kauravas were cousins. Pandu had 5 sons called Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, and the twins, Nakula and Sahadeva. They were called the Pandavas. King Dhritarashtra ruled the kingdom of Kurus from his capital Hastinapur. He had 100 sons called the Kauravas. Duryodhana was the eldest of the Kauravas. The Pandavas and the Kauravas were brought up by the wise men Bhishma and Drona, who taught them the art of warfare and gave them a good education. But as soon as they grew up, Duryodhana became jealous of the Pandavas' glory. He plotted against the Pandavas with his evil uncle Shakuni to get hold of the Pandavas' wealth. They invited Yudhishthira to join them in a game of dice. Shakuni cheated them in the game and won not only their kingdom, but also sent the Pandavas on exile for 13 years. The Pandavas kept to the deal, and after the set term was up, they decided to go back and ask for their kingdom, but Duryodhana refused to return it to them. Krishna, the maternal cousin of the Pandavas, decided to go to Duryodhana with a peace offer. He met Duryodhana's father, Dhritarashtra, and said, "Hail, O mighty king! I have come to you for justice. Give the Pandavas' kingdom back to them. Let there be peace." Dhritarashtra replied, "Krishna, I agree with you, but I am unable to convince Duryodhana. Try and convince him yourself." Krishna then returned to Duryodhana and said, "Give the kingdom back to the Pandavas. You must all live together in peace." But Duryodhana would not listen. Even when Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, and Drona advised Duryodhana to give back the Pandavas' kingdom, he stood firm to his decision. Krishna then went back to the Pandavas. "Yudhishthira," he said, "I'm afraid that now there is no other choice but to fight back. At least we tried the way of peace." "Then let there be war. We will fight for what is ours," cried the Pandavas together. The Pandavas, along with their friends, moved towards the Kurukshetra, the battlegrounds of the Kurus. They divided their army into 7 divisions and faced their enemies in the battlefield. Arjuna led the Pandava army with Krishna as his charioteer. The air was filled with the sound of conches, beating of drums, clanking of weapons, trumpeting of elephants, and the neighing of horses. Arjuna picked up his bow with great confidence and asked Krishna to drive his chariot to the center of the battlefield. "I want to see my enemies," he said. Krishna readily agreed and drove the chariot to the center. Arjuna looked at the armies. He saw his teachers and elders, friends, and relatives on the other side. It made him very sad, and he said, "How can I fight my own people for a small kingdom?" Hearing this, Krishna said, "This is not the time to despair, Arjuna. Take up your weapons and fight. You are a warrior, and it is your duty to fight for a cause. Cast aside all your doubts, Arjuna. Do not think about the consequences, for they are not in your hands. The important thing is to act. The outcome of your action is secondary." Arjuna was not convinced. Krishna advised him, saying, "Don't think of yourself as the doer. God is the doer, and you are an instrument of his will. You cannot truly kill Bhishma or anyone else, as you can only kill the body but not the soul. A human body is subject to change, Arjuna. It moves from birth to childhood, to youth to old age, and finally death. The soul, on the other hand, is neither born nor does it die. When a human dies, his soul moves to a new body, just like a human changes clothes. The soul is immortal and cannot be destroyed. You cannot cut it with your weapons, burn it with fire, or wet it with water. It is beyond the physical. Detach yourself from the physical, and you will understand that you are but an instrument in the hands of the Almighty. Seeing Arjuna's dejection, the Pandava army was gloomy. Duryodhana, too, was puzzled. He turned to his brother and said, "What is the matter with Arjuna? Why isn't he picking up his bow?" His brother replied, "Perhaps Arjuna is afraid after seeing the might of our army." Meanwhile, Arjuna said, "I am still confused, Krishna. How do I attain detachment?" Krishna replied, "When you remove yourself from the attachments of the body and become one with your soul, then you will attain the state of detachment." Detachment is freeing oneself from the emotions of action. Detach yourself from earthly relations, Arjuna, and develop a universal relationship with all. Look at everyone, whether friend or foe, as the same. Then you will be able to reach the ultimate. The ultimate? What is the ultimate? How can a human being attain it? Asked Arjuna. Krishna smiled and said, "The ultimate is God Almighty, which is within each one as the Atma. A union with the self is a union with the Supreme Being. This union is called yoga. As one practices and perfects the yoga, he attains the highest form of enlightenment, which lies in the knowledge of the self. He cannot distinguish between the various forms of life, for he is aware that the same Supreme Being is visible within all living creatures. He is friendly and kind to all. Honor and shame do not affect him. He is beyond heat, cold, pleasure, or pain. It is such a man that I value." Krishna then bestowed Arjuna with the divine sight, so that he could see Krishna's real form. Krishna said, "Many different faiths worship many forms in many ways. Ultimately, they all reach me. Abandon yourself and believe in me, Arjuna. Then you will be free of attachment and thereby sin." On seeing the divine form of Krishna, Arjuna overcame his fear and despair. He realized that he must fulfill his duty as a warrior, and so gave himself to God. With great resolve, Arjuna picked up his bow and shot an arrow. Hearing the twang of Arjuna's bow, his army was heartened and prepared for battle. "Arjuna will fight! He has taken up his weapons!" shouted the soldiers in joy. Thus came the beginning of the Mahabharata and the birth of the famous teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. The wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita helped Arjuna lead the Pandavas to victory and restore peace. These teachings have also inspired and enlightened us through the ages and even today remain a great source of wisdom. The Bhagavad Gita offers very lucid and clear explanations of how our body is made, how our body and mind should interact to achieve peace in this world and beyond.
That was lovely. I hope you all got to know and understand so much more with it. You all know, kids, along with Gita Jayanti, what is today? Today is a very auspicious day. Can anybody tell me why? I'm waiting in the chat box. Quickly tell me, why is it such an auspicious day aside from the fact that it is Gita Jayanti? Waiting, kids, come on, you'll have to give me answers. You know the drill, you know what to do, you know you have to be interactive for this to be even more fun. Okay, okay, you're writing. It's Christmas. It is Christmas, yes. Merry Christmas. But there is one more reason why it is such an auspicious day. It is Ekadashi today. The Yes, it is Christmas as well, but it's Ekadashi. It's Ekadashi. It's Mokshada Ekadashi, and today's Ekadashi. By observing a fast on today's auspicious day, the gates of salvation of moksha are open. How many of y'all have done the Ekadashi today? Who has done an Ekadashi? Say yes. Say Haribol from done your Ekadashi. I've done my Ekadashi. I know. So many people have done it. Fantastic, fantastic, brilliant. This is just lovely. I love your enthusiasm of doing Ekadashi. Fantastic. Okay, so now next in lineup we have Chaitanya Charan Das Prabhuji, who's going to talk about today's significance. He is a monk in ISKCON Chowpatty, and he's traveled globally, and he's written several books. He is the author of the world's only Gita daily feature, wherein he has written a 300 word inspirational reflection on a verse from Bhagavad Gita. And till now, uh, he has written over 1700 Gita meditations that are posted online. So let's welcome him with Haribol, Haribol, Haribol in the chat box. And over to you, Prabhu. Please enlighten us.
Hare Krishna, am I audible to you?
Yes, Prabhu, very well.
And visible also?
Oh, I cannot see on my screen.
That's strange. Okay.
I think the screen is blue and yellow, orange now.
Yeah.
Yes, you're visible now, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity to be here with all of you today. And nice to see you. So today is Gita Jayanti. And I will speak today on one teaching of the Gita and how it is demonstrated in the Mahabharata. And we all, when we go through life, we face fear, we face danger. And when there is fear and danger, we often want some kind of protection. Now, there are so many comics and superhero movies and things where people have special powers by which they can protect themselves or they can protect others. So in the Mahabharat, it is described how the person with the greatest amount of special powers, the supreme superhero is God. He is Krishna. And Krishna is such a special God that he doesn't just want to do himself do special things. He does special things, but he also empowers, he blesses those who are devoted to him to also do special things. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains how if we become devoted to him, he will always protect us. And he will protect us not just from the dangers that we know, he will protect us even from the dangers that we don't know. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham, Krishna says. I'll protect you from all dangers. So, in the Mahabharata, Arjuna was the prominent warrior. He was one of the foremost archers of his time. And Krishna was his charioteer. So, when they were fighting, as the days went by one, the various Kaurava warriors came forward. And there was one particular warrior who was extremely powerful. His name was Bhagadatta. The Mahabharata war was fought between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Pandavas were devotees and the Kauravas were demoniac. They were ungodly. And on the side of the Pandavas and the Kauravas, there were also many other kings who had joined as allies. So when they had joined together, at that time, the Kauravas had this ally Bhagadatta. And Bhagadatta was an elephant warrior. He would ride on top of a giant elephant. And this elephant was so special, it was not like an ordinary elephant. It is an extraordinary heavenly elephant. And some of you may know that when fighting happens, people wear a weapon. People wear armor to protect themselves from weapons. So normally, when there is a armor, the armor protects the warrior. But here, Supratika, which was the name of the elephant of Bhagdatta, Supratika was so powerful and so special that the elephant had come with an armor. The elephant itself had a full armor. So, you could imagine somebody is flying in an airplane and the person has a bulletproof vest, a bulletproof coat, but imagine that the airplane itself is bulletproof. Or sometimes when some VIPs travel, so then they may have a car with bulletproof glass or bulletproof walls. So like that, Supratika, his armor itself was arrow proof. At that time, they would not fight with bullets, they would fight with arrows and bows. So arrows was arrow proof. And when Supratika started charging across the battlefield, he was so huge that just under his foot, he could crush warriors. He could crush opponents. And he would crush soldiers, he could crush chariots and charioteers. And he was wreaking havoc everywhere that he went. And because he was an elephant warrior, normally the fight would be between equals. So foot soldiers would fight with foot soldiers. Horse warriors would fight with horse warriors. And then elephant warriors would fight with elephant warriors. But this elephant, because he was huge, and also because he had armor around him. So imagine if two people are fighting and one person has like an iron glove, then it is not just their fist hitting, it is their fist covered with iron that hits, and it will be a very severe blow. So when this Supratika and another elephant warrior, they would collide. So Supratika would hit the other elephant's head and body with such force that the elephant itself would crumble to the ground, wounded, and would soon perish. So in this way, he was wreaking havoc everywhere. And the Pandava soldiers were just running pell-mell. And at that time, normally in a fight, if we are not able to protect ourselves, then we look for someone who can protect us. And they called out to the various Pandava warriors, and the foremost among them was Arjuna. So they called out to Arjuna. And as soon as Arjuna heard about what was happening, he charged. So at that time, the war was spread over many, many miles. It is, if you go to Kurukshetra now, Kurukshetra is not just one field. Kurukshetra is the place where the war happened. So Kurukshetra is not just one small field. It's a huge plain, several miles. So actually the battlefield, it was said that it was almost 10 miles spread out and 10 miles horizontally, laterally, and 80 miles lengthwise. So it was on that battlefield that all the warriors were assembled and they were fighting. So Arjuna was fighting with some warriors in another part of the battlefield, and here Supratika was wreaking havoc in another part of the battlefield. So Arjuna charged across. He charged across with super fast speed, just moving through whoever was coming in his way. And he reached and he challenged Bhagadatta. So Bhagadatta was the king and Supratika was his elephant. Because it was a special elephant, he had a name for that elephant also. And then Arjuna when Arjuna challenged Supratika, so challenged Bhagadatta and Supratika, they turned around. And Arjuna started shooting arrows at them. And now Bhagadatta, he was also a very good warrior. And he was on top of the elephant and he was shooting arrows one after another, after another, after another. And as he was shooting arrows, charging towards Arjuna. Now Krishna was very expert. In general, in fighting by arrows, like now we might be more familiar with fighting with bullets. So when they're fighting with arrows, there are three ways of dealing with arrows. If an arrow is coming toward us, one is we shoot an arrow and the two arrows collide, and then the opponent's arrow falls. So that is stopping the arrow. Another is dodging the arrow. Dodging means that when the arrow comes along, either the warrior moves aside, or the charioteer who's there, charioteer moves the chariot aside, so that the arrow doesn't hit the target. So there is stopping the arrow, there is dodging the arrow, and there is tolerating the arrow, enduring the arrow. That means the warrior focuses on shooting his weapons, and even if the opponent's weapons come and hit, if they have a good armor, then because of that armor, they will hope that they will not get wounded. So nowadays, when people fight with guns, bullets are very small. So it's almost impossible if a bullet has already been shot to stop it. So one person's bullet will go and hit the other person's bullet will go and hit the first person. That's how it happens. But in the case of arrows, they could, because the arrows are relatively big and they could be precisely pointed toward, and if the warrior was strong enough, then the warrior would or strong and skilled enough, then they could just stop the arrows. So these are three ways of dealing with arrows: stopping, dodging, and tolerating. And in this way, the fight was going on. So Arjuna was shooting various arrows at Bhagadatta and Supratika, and Bhagadatta was shooting arrows back. Because Krishna was an expert charioteer for Arjuna, so even without Arjuna's much effort, Krishna was dodging most of the arrows, and Arjuna was shooting. Now Bhagadatta was powerful, he was also skillful. So what happened? Bhagadatta was not getting wounded because he was also dodging the arrows, he was also stopping the arrows. Then he realized that this is not because Arjuna is too good in archery, so I cannot defeat Arjuna in archery. So he decided, I will use another strategy. And what was the strategy? He had this huge elephant, and he decided to just charge that elephant towards Arjuna's chariot and crush Arjuna's chariot under that. So normally, if you consider different weapons when fighting happens, if two people are fighting with swords, then they are very close to each other and they fight with each other. If they are fighting with arrows, they are at some distance from each other. And if the other person tries to come too close, then the arrows are shot in such a way that they try to stop the person from coming too close. So he was shooting arrows at Krishna and Arjuna, and at the same time his elephant was charging, racing towards Krishna. And Arjuna shot the arrows, and somehow what was happening, Supratika, because he had this extraordinary armor, so none of the arrows of Arjuna were having any effect. Now, generally, when arrows are shot, what happens is that first there is skill required to make sure that the arrow hits the target. And skill alone is not enough. An arrow will cause damage depending on how much force it is hit with. With respect to guns, we just have to press the gun, and the gun itself puts the power on the bullet when it goes. But with respect to arrows, it is the person, how strong their arms are, that determines how forcefully the arrow will go. So even an archer has to be very strong. They have to have strong arms, and they have to be very sharp and skilled. So Arjuna was shooting arrow after arrow after arrow, and all his arrows were hitting Supratika. Because Supratika, this elephant, was charging toward him. So he like, I have to stop this. But although he was charging, he was shooting, the armor was so strong that Supratika was not affected at all. And as Supratika was charging, racing toward Krishna, and he just raised his huge foot to stamp on the chariot. And then at that moment, Krishna, who is the expert charioteer, just moved the chariot aside in one quick move, and bang, Supratika's foot fell on the ground, but there was nothing to crush for him. Krishna and Arjuna had dodged the blow, and as Supratika charged forward, then what happened? Bhagadatta was also looking ahead, and he was charging forward. So at that time, so imagine this, that this elephant is charging forward and Krishna has moved aside. So the elephant is still moving ahead because of the momentum, because of the speed. He can't turn around immediately. So that was the time when Arjuna had the chance. Arjuna could shoot Bhagdatta from the side and he could have killed him. But Arjuna knew that that is against the codes of war. That at that time when war was fought, war was in some way like a sports. So in sports, the idea is we want to defeat the other team, but we want to defeat the other team with skill, with expertise. Like suppose a bowler, cricket match is going on, and a bowler is bowling the ball, and if the batsman is not ready, the batsman is not yet in the proper stance, the batsman may be looking here and there, and suddenly the bowler comes and bowls and then knocks over the stumps, then that will not be considered a fair way of playing cricket. They will be not out at that. It will not be considered out at that time, because the idea is not just to break the stump, not just to knock down the stumps, but to show how the bowler is better than the batsman. So it's not, it's a test of skills. So there are rules over there. So Arjuna knew the rules of warfare. So although he could shoot Supratika and Bhagdatta from the side, he did not. He waited, and then the elephant turned around. And now Arjuna realized how close it was. A shave. It was a close shave, and it was a close save. Close shave means they come very close to death, but Krishna's expertise had saved him. And then he kept shooting. Now Arjuna started using more and more stronger weapons and shooting them with greater and greater force. So as more arrows started hitting at the armor of Supratika. So at that time, Supratika's armor started breaking apart. So even the strongest of armors, they are not having infinite strength. So when dozens and dozens of arrows hit against that armor, it started breaking apart. And Supratik was such a giant elephant that when his armor fell apart and it started falling on the ground, it seemed like a meteor had fallen from the sky and the meteor had broken apart in the atmosphere and was falling to the ground. So everything started falling, and Supratik now was vulnerable. And realizing this, Bhagdatta became alarmed, and Bhagdatta took the strongest weapon that he had with him. It was a weapon which he had kept for a special purpose. Just like in an army now, there are some very powerful weapons, some special missiles, some weapons of mass destruction, like nuclear weapons. They're not to be used in ordinary times because they are very less. So this weapon was what he had, and he realized this is the time I need to use it if I want to save myself. And he took what was called as the Vaishnavastra. And the Vaishnavastra, now there is a Vaishnavastra, there is a Narayanastra, there is a Brahmastra. These are all different weapons, and they all have different levels of power. Now the Brahmastra is relatively very well known, and although it was rare, but still it was well known. The Vaishnavastra was not so well known. So it's like in a cricket match, suppose a particular bowler bowls different kinds of balls. There is off spin, there is leg spin, there is googly, there is dusra. There are different kinds of balls. And if the batsman does not identify which kind of ball this is, then the batsman may play a normal shot, and then the ball just turns in a different, unexpected way. And that can baffle the batsman, that can get the batsman out. So Arjuna saw this weapon coming, and Arjuna thought this is no special weapon. He thought that, okay, let this weapon come, it'll hit against my armor, and my armor is strong enough, and it will fall aside. So he decided, he didn't try to stop the weapon, he didn't try to dodge the weapon, he decided I'll tolerate the weapon. But because it was such a powerful weapon that it could have even killed Arjuna. And Arjuna did not identify, because it is not such a well-known weapon. And then seeing this great danger for Arjuna, Krishna decided to intervene. Now Krishna had taken a vow that I will not raise weapons in this war. But although he decided not to raise a weapon, but he himself is the ultimate weapon. He himself is stronger than the strongest. So suddenly what happened is, he just rose up. And he rose up, and that arrow just charging to the air to kill Arjuna, it came towards Krishna. And as soon as it came toward Krishna, it suddenly transformed into a garland. And it garlanded Krishna. Hey, how does that happen? So everybody was stunned. And Bhagdatta was shocked. His greatest weapon had been baffled. What happened? So Arjuna told Krishna, oh Krishna, why did you intervene? Now I understand that a charioteer can intervene when the warrior is injured. But right now I'm not injured. So Krishna told him that this is the Vaishnavastra. It is stronger even in the Brahmastra. This is such a weapon that even Indra or Shiva would be killed by this weapon. Nobody can survive that weapon at all. That is why I intervened. And then Krishna smiled and he said, now Krishna is the original Vishnu. Krishna and Vishnu are non-different. So because Krishna and Vishnu are non-different, so he said that it is my weapon and my weapon will not hurt me. So so we could say this is like, sometimes there are sophisticated robots, which are like mechanized machines, and they are attacking the enemy, but you change the programming, then they will attack the original person itself. They can just turn it around and use the weapon against the original person. But this is not like that. This is a conscious weapon. And it knew that it is meant to serve the Lord, serve its master, not attack the master. So the Vaishnava weapon, when it came toward Krishna, then it turned into a garland and it just fell around Krishna. And when Arjuna understood how Krishna had saved him from a danger that he wasn't even aware of, Arjuna smiled gratefully. And then Bhagadatta realized that his end was near. In despair, he started charging toward Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna started shooting arrows one after another after another. And as his arrows started piercing into Supratika, now Supratika was armorless and he was a giant elephant. And he stopped in his tracks as one of Arjuna's arrows pierced deep into his forehead. And he started wavering, he started shaking. And on top, Bhagadatta was goading him. March forward, march forward. But the wounds were too brutal. And Bhagadatta now was in great danger that this giant elephant, as he started falling, he might get crushed under the elephant. And he decided to leap off the elephant. But Arjuna was just waiting. As Bhagadatta fell, so as Bhagadatta leapt off, Arjuna turned his arrows from Supratika toward Bhagadatta. And he shot arrows with such precision that when Bhagadatta fell, his head, his arms, his legs, and his torso all fell in separate places. In this way, Arjuna won the war. So Arjuna was very skilled, very expert, but still he didn't know what danger he was facing from the Vaishnavastra. And Krishna protected him from that danger. So similarly for all of us, we all can be like Arjuna. We may not have to fight physical fights with bows and arrows, but we also face difficulties in life. And if we pray to Krishna, if we become devoted to Krishna, then Krishna will protect us, not only from the dangers that we pray for, but even the dangers that we are not aware of. That is how Krishna is the ultimate protector. And today is the day when Krishna descended and spoke the Bhagavad Gita, which gives us the knowledge of his love for us, his caring nature, and his capacity to protect us. So let us pray on the occasion of Gita Jayanti that we can accept Krishna as our Lord, as protector in our hearts, and be safe always in his protection. Thank you very much. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was very insightful. I got a lot to learn. I don't know about the kids, and I'm very sure they enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for your time. We are very honored to have you on.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. All the best for your remaining program. Hare Hare.
For Prabhuji, let us all chant Hari Bol thrice. Everybody, you all can type in the chat box and I'll say it out aloud. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Kids, you all know what is the most important thing we learned from this? You learn a lot of things, but the most important thing is you have to trust Krishna always, unconditionally. He is protecting you in ways you don't even know you face threats in. So many ways. He will always have your back and he's always going to be there for you. And you should put all your faith unto him and surrender to him completely and keep chanting the holy name. Okay. Moving forward, we have a very beautiful and very quirky, shloka recitation. A boy called Dhruv, who is not from India, but he is from Bahrain. He is going to be singing a lot of shlokas to entertain you and to, to just feel the pleasure of, knowing the shlokas. Uh, do you all know what Bahrain is also called? Like Qatar is called Krishna Desh, Dubai is called Damodar Desh. Like that, do you all know what Bahrain is called? Quickly type in the chat box. Whoever gives the answer first wins. Don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Just type it in the chat box. I will count till 10 and I want your answers till then. It's a very, very easy answer. Yes, somebody gave the answer. Bahrain is called Balram Desh. And Lord Balram has given so much strength to this boy, Dhruv, who is just 5 years old. And he will be performing something very interesting today. So keep your eyes tuned to the screen and let's welcome him with a clap. And we'll chant afterwards for him. It was lovely. It was showing a young boy who was saying all these shlokas. He was reciting all of them by heart without referring to any book or any site or any paper. Whereas the people around him, they needed the paper to refer to. So keep chanting the holy name. He's just 5 years old, by the way, to repeat myself. So keep chanting the holy name. And at the end of the day, all you have to do is make Krishna proud. And yes, fantastic. Everybody loved it. I'm getting such nice positive reviews in the comments, and it's so heartening to hear all of this. Let's move forward. We have a very good interactive session right now. And as was mentioned in the message, I hope you all have your yoga mats ready with you. We have Rajni Mataji, who is going to be teaching and who's going to be teaching the warrior pose. It is said that Arjuna was an example of a perfect warrior, and all of us should strive to be like him. This is a small token by our side to help you achieve that goal. And over to you, Mataji. Let's do it. Everybody with your yoga mats now. Fantastic. I'm watching you.
Hello, everyone. So let's start. Shall we start?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Can I see all of you? Okay, so today we are going to, I'm Miss Rajni Dekne, and I would be teaching you yoga and some Omkar chanting. Okay, so first we start with Omkar, shall we? So all of you sit in Padmasan. Okay, can I see all of you? Will you switch on your videos?
Switch on your videos, everybody. I can see all of you. I can only see some of you, but I can, whoever I can see, I know you all are doing yoga. So on your mats. Others, please switch on your videos. Mataji wants to see you. I want to see you. Yes, fantastic. Great. Good. Good.
So you can sit in any comfortable position, okay, in Padmasan or in Sukhasan, in any comfortable position. And then what you're going to do, you have to first take some mudra, okay? You can take Anjali mudra. Anjali mudra is the Namaste mudra, which you all know, is it not? You can take Anjali mudra or you can take Jnana mudra, like this, yeah? And you can rest your hands on your knees and then take a deep breath. Okay, what happens if you do Omkar chanting? It will help you to improve your concentration and you'll become very intelligent. Okay, so first you'll take this mudra and then you will take a deep breath and chant Om. Usually we chant Om, is it not? But we start with like this. There are 3 steps. Like this. Okay, so first, have you all taken Jnana Mudra? Put it, rest your hands on your knees and take a deep breath and chant. Okay? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. We'll do it 3 times, okay? Once again. Take a deep breath. Now rub your palm. Put it on your eyes, on your face. Slowly and gently open your eyes. You all have done it so well. Yeah. So I hope you all are feeling fresh. So now we do some nice, good warrior poses. Now we are on a mission. Okay. Now let's imagine that we are on a mission to save our earth. We are yoga warriors. Okay. So when you have to save, what we'll save? We need to save trees. We need to save water. Okay. We need to plant more and more trees. So with some warrior poses, I'll also show you tree pose, which is very good. Okay. Now let's do the tree pose. Okay. Can you all see me? Yes. Look here. Like this. And then you are standing on your heels like this. Okay. This is a tree pose. Okay. Now the first warrior pose. What are you doing here? The first warrior pose, when you feel that you're very strong. So what will you say? I am very strong. Okay. So you know what the downward dog pose? First like this. Okay. Yeah. You do like this first. And then put your legs in the front like this. Yeah. And then this is the first warrior pose. Okay. So now what are we doing? I hope you all can see me. Yes, we are done with one leg. So we'll do with the another leg now. Okay. First we'll make a downward. We are doing a downward dog pose. Okay. Now take another leg in the front like this. Yes. And then move up, hold your hands and bend down. Open your legs. Look at the sky. Rest. Okay, so I hope you all are feeling very strong. Yes. Now we'll do another one. Okay. The same pose, but now you will feel more confident about it. Yes? Okay. Okay, now you stand and do like this. I hope you all are feeling good. So now we'll do another leg. Okay? The opposite side. You all are doing it very good. Yes, that's nice. Now there is the third pose, which is a dancing warrior pose. Okay? Downward dog pose. Take your leg in the front and then very good. That's nice. That's lovely. So you all are doing it nice. Okay? I hope you're feeling good, confident. Yes? So now, thanks a lot. I hope you all have done it and do it every day so you'll enjoy it. Okay? Thank you. Madam,
Yes,
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
yes, Mataji.
Mataji, I'm done with it.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. I was just taking note.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. It was lovely. I could see Simrita, Radha, Ahana, Riyansh, Siddhi, and Dimple doing the warrior pose, but I could not see everybody else as your videos were switched off. Please switch on your videos for henceforth, as it is very heartening to see all of you, indulging in such divine activities. Okay, fantastic. Let's move forward. Now we have a talk by a very own Vishal Prabhuji. So all of you know that Krishna, spoke the Gita for Arjuna because Arjuna was feeling hesitant to go into battle against his own family members. Do you know why Krishna chose Arjun and not anybody else? Why was he the lucky one? Why was he chosen? He was Krishna's best friend, best mate. He was Krishna's, confidant, and he had surrendered unto Krishna. But why Arjuna and why not anybody else? So let's see what Vishal Prabhuji has for us, and how he can enlighten us on that subject. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
And also the screen is being seen clearly.
Yes. I can see the screen.
Okay, kids. So we're going to also chat, all right? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and I want some answers. As Mataji was telling you, Arjuna was a hero, all right? And the very fact that he was chosen to hear the Bhagavad Gita from the Lord himself is because he was special, right? Now, let me ask all of you all, what makes a hero? Quickly in your chat boxes, what do you think makes a hero? Tell me. What are the qualities that are there in a hero? Okay. Courage, strength, one who can fight, brave, very nice. Okay, brave again. Leadership, very nice. Radha says courageous. Jagannath says bravery. Absolutely, yes. So these are honesty, okay, another very good quality. So these are some of the qualities that make a hero. Absolutely right. Now, Arjuna had a lot of these qualities, right? That's what made him a hero. Now, I'm going to tell you all a couple of real stories in his life which bring out these qualities, all right? And the reason why we're trying to understand his character is because we want to imbibe those qualities. Because when we have these qualities, we'll become special to the Lord. And who doesn't want to become special to the Lord? All of us want to be special, right? That's the reason we're studying his qualities. Okay, so let's take a couple of stories now. I'm just trying to share the screen with a couple of these stories. One sec. Yes. Now, you all answered what makes a hero. The first quality, brave. A lot of you all said bravery, right? So I'm going to tell you all an incident from the life when they were in the Gurukul. In the Gurukul, you'll all know Dronacharya was leading all of them. Now, always it was seen that Arjuna was favored by Drona. And the others, particularly, Duryodhana and Camp, they always complained that why are you always partial? Why are you always, wanting Arjuna and everything? Why? So Drona said, one day I will teach all of you all a lesson as to why Arjuna is special. So Drona, being a mystic himself, once he was swimming in the river, which was near the ashram. And that's when, by his mystic powers, he created a crocodile, and all the students thought that the crocodile had Drona in his grip. And then he screamed for help, bachao, bachao, all of them were standing at the shore. None of them jumped. Arjun was the first one to jump and immediately to the rescue of Drona. And at that time, Drona came out and he said, this is to prove that why Arjun is special. You all were still thinking, you all were screaming for help. Arjun was the one who actually jumped in. Who is brave? And everyone was dumbfounded, particularly Duryodhana. All right. Another very important characteristic of Arjuna was he was very insightful, right? That is also something that makes a hero. Now, what do I mean by insightful? Now, the story that I'm going to tell you will prove this particular point of Arjun. Now, in the Gurukul, it happened that one night they all ate dinner and then they would go in the bed and sleep. Suddenly, Arjuna heard some kind of a noise, which was disturbing his sleep. And he was like, at this time, who is it? And what is he up to? And then he just got up and he started looking around. Where is the sound coming from? And he walked up to the kitchen. That's where the sound was coming from. And Arjun was wondering what is happening. And then he went there. And at that time, there were no lights. So he was carrying a mashal. And when he went into the kitchen, he saw it was none other than Bhima, his elder brother. And what was he doing? He was enjoying the laddus. And Arjun asked him, what are you doing? He said, Arjun, the laddus today were so amazing. I just wanted to eat more of them. He said, but it's pitch dark over here. And what are you doing? And then Bhima said, look, what I'm interested in is what laddus. So here is the laddu. Here is my mouth. If I know where the laddus are and I know where my mouth is, what's the problem? And then he continued feasting. When Arjun heard that, something ticked in his mind. He said, Bhima is so fond of eating that he can find his way even in the night. I am so fond of shooting the arrows, then why can't I shoot arrows in the night? That is the day he decided that I am going to practice shooting arrows in the night. And from that day onwards, every night without fail, Arjun practiced and practiced and practiced shooting arrows in the dark. And this one quality helped him much later in his life, particularly in the great Mahabharata, the Kurukshetra war. It helped him a lot. And also for other things. But this one quality helped him a lot during the final fight. So another quality that made him special, he didn't think normal. He think a little ahead. Let's get on to another quality. Now, you'll all know, you'll have heard the story. When the kingdom was divided, the Pandavas were given a raw deal. They were given Khandav Prasth. Now, what was Khandav Prasth? A piece of barren land. It was like a desert with some shrubs growing. And when they got that, they were like all the brothers, they went to Yudhishthir Maharaj and they said that we've got a raw deal, you know, it's not right. We should fight for our right. And Yudhishthir Maharaj said, no, it's fine. We will manage with whatever we have got. But it was these very Pandavas who converted Khandavprasth into Indraprasth. Now, why was the name Indraprasth given? Because it was made so beautiful later on that it became as good as the kingdom of Indra. And that's the reason the name Indraprasth was given. Now, how did this transformation happen? And what role did Arjun play? We will hear in the upcoming story. But the fact that this is another important quality of all the Pandavas, Arjun in particular, overcoming difficulties and not being let down by failure. You know, today we are also, sometimes we don't do well in an exam, you know, and we feel very dejected. But that's not the way we need to be. We need to overcome. If we have a problem, if we've succumbed to failure once in a while, it's fine. We're humans. Failure, success comes and goes. It's like day and night, summer, winter. It's a part of the game. We don't have to be boggled down. We have to learn, we have to get inspired, and we have to act. We're studying all these scriptures, we're studying all these heroes essentially to understand all these gifts, so that even if we imbibe a few of these qualities, our life will be amazing, right? We have to decide that we are going to implement these in our life, like Arjun did. So what exactly happened? So they got it, Khandavprasth, which was nothing more than a barren land, as I told you. So one day, when they had got this piece of land, it was Arjun and Krishna. They were just walking, and Arjun was saying, you know, that this is what we've got, and we have to do something about it. And they were chatting, and then they walked deep inside the forest. And suddenly they noticed that one, you know, emaciated guy coming up to them and saying, I need your help. Please feed me. Please feed me. Please feed me. And he was at a distance and he was just screaming. So Arjun, being a Kshatriya, immediately went to his rescue and he said, what can I do for you? Please tell me. I will immediately do it. He said, I just need to eat. Please feed me. And Arjun was, tell me what you want. And immediately, then they recognized that this was none other than Agni, the god of fire himself. Now, both were taken back. Arjun, now Krishna knows everything. Arjun was taken back a little and he said, how are you in this condition? So then he gave the whole story, which I won't tell you now, but it's like one particular king had been performing such an extensive sacrifice that he had overloaded Agni with a lot of ghee. And ghee is a little hard to digest, you know. So even Agni had an upset stomach. So he said, I just need to eat this entire forest down. And then Arjun said, what is preventing you? You know, please go ahead and do that. He said, no, you know, every time I do that, it is Indra who showers rain. And Arjun was like, why does he do it? He says, because his friend, Takshak, the king of the snakes, is in this forest with his family. So Arjun said, okay, now I've given you my vow. I'm going to help you. Now, just to let you know, kids, in case you don't know, Arjun's divine father is Indra. All right. So it was like literally a battle against his own father to protect Agni. And that also he had to do it because as a Kshatriya, your word is more important than anything else. So it was his duty to ensure that if he's given his word, he has to abide by it. He told Agni, don't worry, I will just ensure whatever is needed, but I need a little of your help. Now, I don't have my bow, arrow, chariot, nothing. So how am I supposed to just manage that? Agni said, you don't worry, I'll provide you everything. And it is then that the very famous Gandhi bow, you all have all heard about the Gandhi bow. That is when Arjun got the Gandhi bow. And he got that special chariot from Agni, which was used again in the final Kurukshetra war. Now, this Gandhi bow was no ordinary bow, kids. It was like a powerhouse. All right. It could shoot thousands of arrows at one go. The quiver would never go empty. It was the weapon, all right? So Agni provided him with that. Agni also gave him his chariot. And after that, Arjun said, go, take the entire forest. And Agni lit the entire forest. And that's when Indra started showering rain. And Arjun, with his Gandhi bow, created an entire umbrella of arrows that protected the forest. And since the forest was protected, that's when Agni could make sure that his appetite was satisfied, and all the creatures came running out. One of them was Mayasura. He was a demon and he was hiding in that forest. Now he came to his rescue and he fell at Arjun's feet and Krishna's feet. And he was like, please, I don't want to die. At least help me. Now, again, a demon coming, and again, for a Kshatriya, if someone falls at your feet, you're supposed to forgive him. So they lived their lives as per dharma, the Pandavas. They lived their life as per dharma. So again, he was duty bound. He said, okay, what can I do for you? He said, please, I just want to not die. And Arjun said, fine. But it was Krishna who again came. He said, look, we're leaving you, but you have to do something for us. And Mayasur said, whatever you want, tell me. Now, Mayasur was a demon with, so what Vishwakarma is to the demigods, Mayasur was to the demons. So he was this architect who could create amazing, amazing amount of stuff. It could be anything, palaces, cities. So that's when the entire Khandavprasth was converted into this beautiful city and this beautiful palaces and courtrooms. All of that was created, and it was here because he was a demon and he had the Mayavi skills. He had created a palace and a courtroom in such a way where you could not really know where there is water, where there is land, and that's where Duryodhan had fallen down. So that's the palace which comes later on in the story in the Mahabharata. But then with Mayasur's help and with Krishna's blessings, this is the way they converted the Khandavprasth, which was like nothing more than just a desert, into Indraprasth, which was like no other on this planet at that point of time. And it really created so much of envy within the hearts of Duryodhana and camp that they really wanted to make sure that they became so envious of the Pandavas, and that's what led to the gambling match and so on and so forth later on. Now coming to another quality of, but before that, in the chat boxes, how are you liking hearing about Arjuna? What do you all think about him? Anything that you'll want to comment, you'll want to say, or before I go on to the next story? How to be insightful is one of the questions that came in the chat box. So insightful is essentially getting into the details of something or looking beyond. All right. And with that story, I think you would have understood somehow how we're supposed to be insightful. So we look beyond. We don't see only the surface. So that's one of the ways of being insightful. Now, since there are no more questions, I'll go to the next one. All right. Fixed on dharma. As I was telling you, the Pandavas, they led a very dharmic life. They went by the principles. They didn't want to do anything against the principles. And you all know that they were married to Draupadi, all the five. So it's again a clash. One wife and she has 5 husbands. So between them, they had come to this pact, as you may call it, that for 1 year, or when at that point of time, in that 1 year, when one particular brother is with Draupadi, nobody else will intrude on their privacy. That was the pact. So that's the way the time was going on. But it so happened that once when Draupadi was with Yudhishthir, And Arjuna was there performing his normal role. One particular Brahmin came to him with asking for help. He said that a group of thieves have stolen all his belongings and he needed help. So Arjuna, again, being a Kshatriya, he said, right away, I will come to your rescue. But then he realized that my bow and arrow is inside. And how can I go intrude and disturb Yudhishthir and Draupadi? If I do that, the pact was whoever intrudes will have to go for 1 year in exile. All right. So he was in a dilemma. If I don't help, I'm going against my word as a Kshatriya and my dharma. And if I intrude on the privacy, I will have to go 1 year in exile. But he was so duty bound and fixed on that dharma. He said, forget it. I don't mind suffering, but I will make sure that I save and help the Brahmin. So he went into the room, didn't look, just went, picked up his bow and arrow and walked out. All right. Yudhishthir Maharaj noticed that and he was fine with it. He just thought he's come to take his bow and arrow and he went back. He goes, rescues the Brahmin possessions, gives it back to him and comes back and falls at Yudhishthir Maharaj's feet and says, I'm very sorry and I'm going to the forest. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is like, what are you talking about? Well, he said, you know, the pact that we had, I'm not supposed to do this. And Yudhishthir Maharaj was like, you did it for a reason. Why are you so worried? Says, I'm going to go for 1 year in exile because I have broken the pact. He was so fixed on dharma. Can you imagine? His own brother is telling him, relax, there's nothing, I don't mind. And he's like, no, I've done something wrong and I'm going back. You know, so that's the kind of discipline that he had. Okay, so we have a question here. How to become like Arjuna? Riyansh is asking. So Riyansh, these are the qualities that I'm talking about. If we're brave, if we're insightful, if we're fixed on whatever if we've given a word to someone and we're fixed on that, that means we're as living life as per our word. So these are the qualities. We're courageous, but there's one quality, Riyansh, if we adopt, even if we leave all the other qualities, if we can't do that for any other reason, if we don't have that determination for any reason, we should have, but if we don't have, we should have this one quality that can make us like Arjuna. And that's the last quality that I'm going to talk about, but the most important quality, and that is surrender. So that's the one quality that Arjuna had. And if we can imbibe a iota or a drop of that, we will be at least close to Arjuna's feet. Now, surrender. By surrender, what do I mean? By surrender, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you surrender, I will ensure that I take over your life. So is it better that we fight our own battles, or should we just surrender and leave? We do our best, but leave everything else to Krishna. That is what surrender means. Now, there are many incidents in the life of Arjuna where he had surrendered. But I'll tell you all one such incident where during the battle, Bhishma, after being, told a lot of good and bad by Duryodhan, decided that to kill the Pandavas. He removed 5 arrows from his quiver and he chanted some mantras, and Bhishma was, as you all know, very, very powerful. And he chanted these mantras and he had these 5 arrows with which he told Duryodhan, keep these arrows, I'm going to kill the Pandavas with these. So Duryodhan said, yes, give them to me. Tomorrow morning, I'll give it to you in the battlefield. Please kill the Pandavas. Okay. So Duryodhan had these. And now Krishna is all in, he knows it all. So he came to know what has transpired. And he goes to Arjuna and he tells Arjuna that, tomorrow Bhishma has vowed to kill all of you. And can you imagine what is Arjuna's reaction? He says, Acha, okay, we'll see tomorrow. And he goes in his tent and he goes to sleep. And Krishna is like, what? Now, this is what I mean by surrender. Because Arjuna knew that whatever has to be done will be done by Krishna. I have to go fight. That's my dharma. I will do that. So there is this beautiful saying that you all should remember and try to learn. Rakhe Krishna Mare ke, Rakhe Krishna Mare ke, Mare Krishna Rakhe ke. So this is what Arjun knew. Now, what it means? It means that if Krishna has decided to save someone, who can kill him? And if Krishna has decided to kill someone, then who can save him? So this was known by Arjun. So he was relaxed. He didn't worry. He said, मैं जाके सो रहा हूं, आप देखो आपको क्या करना है. So this is what I mean by surrender. Complete faith. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, fight to the best of my abilities. The rest Krishna will see. And then Krishna devises this wonderful plan and he ensures that he gets this back. So what he tells Arjuna is that you have got a boon from Duryodhana. And that boon, Arjuna had even forgotten about it, that he had this boon from Duryodhana. So he went to the Duryodhana's camp and he told him in the night, you remember the boon that you had given me when I had saved you from the Gandharvas? Duryodhana said, yeah, I remember. He said, I want that boon now. And Duryodhana is like, you want me to stop the fight? He says, no, I don't want you to stop the fight. Relax. I just want those 5 arrows that you took from Bhishma. Duryodhana is shocked. How do you know about that? In his mind, he thought that. But now, even though he had that demonish qualities, but he had that quality of his word. So he said, yeah, I have given you a boon, a vow, and I'm going to give you back those arrows. So that's how he got those arrows back. And it was only because of Krishna he could manage to do that. And from here we see how that one quality of surrender in the Pandavas, Arjun had that, of course, but the Pandavas in general had that quality of surrender, because of which they were so loved. And Krishna was always there to save them, you know. So from Arjun, these are some of the qualities that we learn, kids. And if we imbibe a few of these qualities, and if nothing else, forget it all, surrender. Now, by surrender, from your heart, on a daily basis, tell Krishna, I am your child. I am completely in your hands. Make me lead my life the way you feel is right. Sometimes we want to do things, sometimes we feel this is right, but that may not be the best, all right, for us. So we have to do our best with this feeling in our mind that we have to leave to Krishna the rest. So if this one quality you all can imbibe, kids, I'm sure your lives will be wonderful. And on this very special day, let us all remember these qualities, try and imbibe them. All right? Hare Krishna. If you all have any questions, please put in the chat box. I think we just have about a minute or so. Actually, I've overshot my time. If you have any questions, I'll just take that. Otherwise, over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
We'll just wait for a minute or so for any questions by kids. And then I think Raj Priya has no questions. That's lovely.
But I hope you all enjoyed the story.
I'm sure everybody did as much as I did, and it was really lovely. And the most important thing we learned from this, I'll repeat again, you have to surrender to Krishna. Krishna will always unconditionally come through for you, and that's just a given. So thank you, Prabhuji. It was really insightful, and I cannot say how much it touched me, and just thank you. It was lovely.
Hare Krishna. Lovely show. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So with that, I call upon Radhika Kishori Mataji, who has some really nice announcements for you all. You all know today is Christmas, right? And now we have New Year's in 5 or 6 days. So you all have your vacations and you all are free and you all are bored. You can't go down to play because of COVID. So we have some very interesting workshops coming up, and Radhika Mataji is going to introduce you to all of them. Over to you.
Yes, children, I hope everyone's enjoying and having a lovely time with our Gita Jayanti festival. So I can see many of you all who log into our lovely workshops that we have for you. And I'm sure you liked what Vishal Prabhu told all of you. So he's going to tell you amazing such stories starting tomorrow. Okay, so I want all of y'all to go to our website. It's called courses.iskonchowpatty.com. Just go there and look up for life stories, and you will see Vishal Prabhu's little write up on what he's going to tell you all about. We're going to have 2 batches, one for the NRIs who are going to be like about 8 to 9 p.m. That's going to be 8 to 9, and other is going to be around 12 to 1. Yeah, it's a 45-minute class actually. So please go look up the website. That's about life stories that we've announced. Today, we're going to start an amazing module called Vedic Art and Craft. So here, you're going to make different activities. You'll remember doing this in our festivals? Yes, children, how many of y'all remember doing different things of art and craft in our festival, which happened last month and before that? So today, we are starting with a new batch. It's called Vedic Art and Craft. Please go look it up. And we're going to make a lovely pen stand, a lotus-shaped pen and pencil stand, yeah? So please do this and have a lovely year ahead. Wishing everyone a very happy Krishna conscious New Year. Thank you.
To add to these lovely courses, we also have a course by Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji, who spoke at the beginning, who spoke in the start. It's going to start from 25th December, that is today. It started at 8 a.m. It's going to be about 18 life lessons from the 18-day Kurukshetra war. And it is going to be very, very insightful, and it is going to give you all a new perspective to the whole thing. So to the whole war, to the whole Mahabharat. So just little excerpt from that, if I may. Prabhuji says that failure in life does not make for a fall life. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a marathon. It is, you have to win battles constantly. It's not one sprint which you one battle which you win and it's over, you're successful. You have to win series of battles to be successful, and he is going to elaborate more on that. So as Mataji mentioned, please go log on to courses.iskonchowpatty.com, and you're going to find not only these courses are lovely, but you're going to find lots of courses. Maybe if you're interested in dancing, singing, lots of courses with a huge variety, and you're going to love it. Your vacation is going to be set. So that brings us to the next order of business. We have the most awaited part of the whole show. We have a Kahoot quiz, and we're going to have games by Gopalila Prabhuji. So over to you, and I can see kids jumping, literally jumping and smiling. I can see so many people. I can see Simrita, I can see Rukmini, I can see Rukmini, the second Rukmini, I can see Dimple. All of them are smiling. So over to you.
Hari Bol. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, audible.
Thank you so much. Welcome, children, and happy Gita Jayanti to all of you. And I could also see Rukmini, and there are some other friends. They were also really enjoying when it comes to this section called as games. So all the children, we are having 3 games today. First one is about the shlokas and mantras. So basically, let me just tell you a little bit about this the game. The game would be, I am going to tell you the shloka, and there'll be 2 translations there, and you need to find out which is the correct translation, whether it is A or B. The left hand side, to my left hand side, it would be A, and to my right hand side would be B. So when I'm reading here, I'll just mention that whether it is A or B, and then you have to give the answers in the chat box whether it is A or B. Okay, over to you. The next slide, Dalron Pro. All right, the shloka is Matra Sparsastu Konteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada Agamai Panitya Nityas Tam Stitikshva Bharata. So the translation goes A, O best among men, the person who is not disturbed by happiness or distress, and sorry, I'm not able to read, is steady, in certainly eligible for liberation. And the B goes, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance. It's very difficult to read. Appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer season, they arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So I see most of them, they are giving answers as A, Ahana, Jagannath, Rukmini, Haridarshan says B, Radha says B, Dhruv, Pranshu says B, okay, Jagannath, please don't give answers very frequently. Hemangi says A, Hemangi says now B, okay. Anna, all right, the answer is B. The correct answer is B, Prathamesh. And who else? Purnedu, yes, the correct answer is B. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress. So this is a bit googly, which Dayalram Prabhu has put on here. The A and B looks similar, but exact translation is the answer is B. All right, let's move to the next one. Purnedu, please don't spam. All right, the second one. Are you ready for the second one? All right. So the second one is Bhuya eva mahabhavo suname param vacha yat me ham priyamanaya vakshami hita kamaya. So the translation, a translation goes as, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, Almighty, please don't give the answers immediately. Let me finish with A and B, then you can give the answers. Otherwise, I'm not able to read because I'm working today on mobile. Because you are my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Translation B goes, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. All right. Now I want a help here. Dayalram Prabhu, what is the correct answer here? Whether it is A or B?
I'm still studying, Prabhu.
No, but you have to give the answer. Even you are studying still, the question goes to you.
Can I answer?
Yeah, please.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said.
Okay, wonderful. So the answer is A, and there are many of them who have answered it. Bhumika I see, and there are many of them who have answered correctly as A. Hemangi, Radha, thank you. Dhruvam, thank you so much. Arjun, Karuna, wonderful. Thank you. All right, Anushri. Great. Siddhi. Great. Let's move to the next one. The last one. Next shloka, please.
Haribol Prabhu, should I put the third one?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right, let's, the third one, the last one. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshina. So the translation here goes, Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme. In other words, that they are mine. B translation goes as, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Okay, I see Hemangi, Radha, Haridarshan, Siddhi, Anushri, Kaniksha, Prathamesh, Riyan, Rajpriya, Dhruv. Amazing. All of you have answered it correctly. The correct answer is B. So here there are 2 points to be remembered. Tadvidi pranipatena parifrashnena sevaya. Whenever we are, so this is about going, especially talking about when we are approaching to a spiritual master. But for us, the spiritual master might be our parents or might be our teachers. So how we can learn from them? There are 2 things whenever it comes to learning. One is we have to render service to them, and second is to learn submissively, not having with so much of arrogance that I know so many things. So what you are going to teach me? These are the 2 very important points. One, submissive, and second is rendering service to them. So it might be a small thing like getting a glass of water or something menial service doing to your parents or from teachers, and you learn so many things from them. All right, this was about the first game about shlokas. The next one is jumbled words. So are you ready? I can't see all of you some other because working on mobile, I'm not able to see your faces. So hope you are enjoying, and let's move to the next game, which is jumbled letters or words. All right, the first slide, please. All right. Okay, come on. The game is you need to spell it properly, Bhumika. It's not Ahilya. The spelling is not appropriate. It's not salary, Riyansh. It's, let me give a clue to all of you. He is the uncle of Nakul and Sahadev. And he was playing from, yes, Anushri got it right. Anushri, Sita, Radha, Shuraj, Haridarshan, great. Shalya is the correct answer. Shalya, who is the uncle of Nakul and Sahadev, and he was tricked to play or to fight from Kauravas, and it was against the Pandavas. All right, moving to the next one. DMIAR. Okay, think. Let's see who gets the first. It's not Miraj, Simrita. Okay, Suraj got it right. Yes, it's Madhuri, Anushri, Bhumika. Well done. Satish, great. Kanishka, Prathamesh, Ahana, Arjun, amazing. So nice to see all of you are answering correctly. And Madhuri, who is the second wife of Maharaj Pandu. Maharaj Pandu had 2 wives, Kunti Maharani and Madhuri. Thank you. And from Kunti, okay, quickly, can we give answers on the chat before we go to the next one? Who are the sons of Kunti and who are the sons of Madhuri? On the chat box, please. Quickly. Who are the sons of Kunti And who are the sons of Madri? Nakul, Madri is Nakul and Sahadev. Thank you, Bhumika. And who else? Bhim, Yudhishthir, Bhim, and yes, Smita, you got it right. Yudhishthir, Bhim, and Arjun. Okay, there's one more. There's one more from Kunti. There's one more from Kunti. Yes, Anushri got it right, Karna. Yes, great, thank you. All right, let's move to the next one. So here, just consider S as B. Just consider S as B here. In this case, MHAIIBD. It is not S, it is B. So just think and tell me which is the correct answer. Let's see who gets the right in this case. No, it's not Arjun or Bhim. It is not Bhishma, Anushri. Okay, clue. The clue is she is Rakshasi. She is a Rakshasi from Mahabharata. Yes, Anushri got it right. Suraj, Radha, amazing. Hidimba, Dhruv, Bhumika, great, thank you. Okay, Riyansh, Radha, Arjun, Neha, Vrajpriya, Pranshu, great going. Gaurangi, amazing. Let's move to the next one. Swarat, Siddhi, Haridarshan. All right. IMUIKNR. Clue. Okay. Somebody already got it. Sita, Vanishka, amazing. Yes, Rukmini, who is the wife of Krishna, the foremost wife of Krishna, Rukmini. Prathamesh, Pranchu, Siddhi, Dimple, Rukmini, great going, Arjun, Gaurangi, Swarat, Ahana, Smriti, Karuna, amazing. All right, let's move to the last one. Okay, Anushri, again, you got it right. First, Ghatochkat, Dhruv, Rajpriya, Radha, amazing. Smita, Riyansh. So nice to see all of you answering correctly. So we saw Shalya, who is the uncle of Nakul and Sahadev, Madri, the wife of Pandu Maharaj or mother of Nakul and Sahadev, Hidimba, who is a Rakshasi and Bhima's wife, Rukmini, wife of Krishna, and Ghatochkas, who is the son of Bhima and Hidimba. All right, let's move to the last section and let me see how much time we have. We have 5 minutes and we have five damsharas which we are going to play, 5 different activities or 5 different situations which I'm going to explain to you. So the whole idea here is we are going to act out here and you have to wait till the complete situation is narrated or not narrated but acted out to you, and then you have to give me the. So today we don't have any Kahoot quiz. We have only these quizzes, which we have already completed, the shloka, the jumbled words, and now the damsharas. So let me again tell you, we are going to act out. There are 5 different situations. The first one, which is what we are going to act now, and you have to wait and then you have to give the answer. Okay, it would be acted in probably in 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, so I have with me Dhir Krishna, who is going to. All right, is it better now? Is my voice better? Can anyone confirm me? Oh, no, it's not cracking. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. All right. So we are going to act the first situation and you have to guess which situation we are acting out here. All right. Are you able to see both of us? Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, Ashutosh got it right. Bhumika got it right. Duryodhan giving poison to Bhima. Amazing. Vanishka, Kanishka, Radha, Anushri, Gaurangi. Great going. Siddhi, Dhruv. Nice to see you. Amazing. Giving the answers so fast, so quickly. Thank you. Neha, Riyansh. Amazing. Prathamesh. Okay, let's move to the next one. Bhima being poisoned. That was the first one. The next one is what we are going to explain now. Am I audible? Are you able to see us? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, watch carefully again. Watch carefully again, please. Yes, Bhumika, we are doing it again. Are you able to see? Fire in palace to Pandavas. You got it right. Amazing. That was so nice. I don't know whether I did it properly, but you are really great going. You know in and out Mahabharata and you were able to understand what it was. Dhruv, thank you. Lakshya, this is what I was looking for. Siddhi, Ashutosh, amazing. Prathamesh, Neha, Anushri, great going. Radha. All right. Moving to the next one, Arjun, thank you. All right, the third one. Are you able to see? Okay, perfect, thank you. Kurukshetra war, Karna being attacked. No, not exactly. Okay, Abhimanyu got it right. Ashutosh, Sachinandan, great going. Abhimanyu one is what I was looking for. Rajpriya, I don't know whether I did the act was proper or not, but nice to see Abhimanyu in Chakravyuh. Yes, all of you got it right. Kanishka, Siddhi, Riyansh, great going. Thank you, Ashutosh. Okay, all right. So we completed with Bhima poison, Lakshagra, Abhimanyu one. The fourth one now. All right, are you ready for the fourth one? Are you ready? Yes. Thank you, Bhumika, Khandelwal, Rajpriya, Vanishka, Karuna, Siddhi, Pranshu, great. Thank you. see my video? Okay, great. Okay, Smita got it right. Yes, it was Dronacharya. This was a bit difficult, but you guessed it properly. Vrajpriya, Neha, Anushri, Pranshu, Bhumika, great. Dronacharya what? Thank you. Prathamesh, Karuna, great. Thank you so much. This was a bit difficult because I was just thinking whether do I need to also talk about the killing of the elephant, Drushtadumna, not the Drushtadumna. Who is that person? Ashwathama, yes. So Ashwathama, but you are really amazing children. Okay, the last one now. Are you ready for the last one? Okay, great. Bhumika, Neha, thank you so much. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. Okay, all of you got it right. It's Jarasan word. Thank you, Sachinandan, Braj Priya, Haridarshan, great point. Radha, amazing. Okay, that's all from my end. Over to you, Dayalram Prabhu and Radhika Kishori Mataji.
Should we have some kirtan, Prabhuji?
Yes, why not? We can do it. Are you ready with the kirtan?
Just a minute.
Rukmini and Jayanti, what are you having? You also please share with me. Don't worry. No problem. You can have it, but you can also share what you are having it. Okay, Dayaluram Prabhu. No Kahoot. Today we don't have any Kahoot. Next time probably we can plan out. Today I'm little out from my place. I'm at my parents' place, so it was a bit difficult for me to make the Kahoot quiz. Okay, Prabhuji, are you ready with the Kirtan?
Yes, yes.
Great. Something fast. All of you, get up!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Leela, you have been splendid and fun loving as always, and kids love you. So please keep on coming again and again. Thank you very much, Deer, who accompanied him in the acting. And I think father and son, they act really well. Thank you very much, Deer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Haley, are you around for your closing words?
So, Prabhuji,
Yes.
I'll actually, my sister is here,
Okay.
and her daughter, she is an amazing actor, and she just she got an offer from a Marathi film, but she was a bit busy in the cooking, and that's why she couldn't come. Otherwise, she was planning to come here to act.
Okay.
So just sort of informing you. Thank you.
What's her name?
Her name is Krishna.
Krisha. Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful, Krisha. Can we see you properly, Krisha?
Krishna, no, she is not here.
Okay.
Probably next time I'll send her picture.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Lovely Gita Jayanti
Hare
celebration.
Krishna, thank you for coming, everybody. Have a great Gita Jayanti.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you very much for taking care of the show. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone.